Choosing a niche is an endless struggle for online creators. You hear things like, you have to niche down, or the riches are in the niches. Meanwhile, there's guys like Dan Coe who are telling you that niching down is terrible advice, and the dude's making $4 million a year with no niche. But does he really not have a niche? In this video, I'm going to share where I agree with Dan Coe and also share one critical point that I think he left out. Because the worst part about this dilemma is that if you can't figure out your niche, it keeps you frozen on the sidelines, prevents you from taking action. And I personally have wrestled with this question for almost all of the 8 years that I've been in this creator and coaching space. I've watched every video about this. I've gone back like 9 years into somebody's YouTube history to figure out, did they have a niche? Did they change the niche? How did they ultimately grow a big audience and make tons of money? And I've personally switched my niche multiple times as well. I started out in the real estate coaching niche, and I grew to multiple six figures in that niche, only to switch to helping coaches and creators, and then grew to multiple six figures in that space as well. I even wrote a book called Nail Your Niche. Yet after all of this, I'm still learning new ways of looking at this question of niche. And I feel like here today, as I sit here with you, I have discovered by far the best and overall most holistic way that you can think about your niche that's going to finally free you of the chains of this question so that you can put the issue to bed once and for all and start creating content freely and growing this coaching or creator business that you've always dreamed of. Okay, let's start by defining what this word niche actually means. It commonly refers to the person that you serve, the topic that your content is in, and the actual outcome that you deliver for your clients. For example, here's how I talk about myself. My name is Brian, and I help people grow an online coaching business and publish books to get more clients. I used to think that was the way you were supposed to talk about yourself, but recently I've realized that that is actually a very surface level way to describe what I do. And it's been harder for me to grow a large audience because everything I'm talking about is the 3 tips to grow your coaching business, or how to get clients with a book. And then if somebody lands on my content or visits my website and they're not in the market for one of those things, they're simply going to close out and move on. So I've had to find a deeper way to talk about what I do to get people to be more interested and to want to stick around. In order to do that, I went back and listened to a call I had with my coach from 2 years ago. And on the call, he and I were trying to figure out my why. And we dove into 3 different interesting stories from my past and noticed a pattern. So as I tell you these stories, see if you can spot the pattern. Number 1 is I used to have eczema. It's an itchy rash on your arms and legs. It was terrible. And after suffering for a while, I figured out how to solve it by eating healthy. Once I solved it, I went around and told everybody about it. I started a blog on nutrition. I taught classes on how to make green smoothies. I was just so excited to share that wisdom with other people. Number 2 is I used to suffer from anxiety and depression. And after not really knowing what to do and just dealing with it for a long time, I ultimately came across books about spirituality and mindfulness, and I, for the most part, fixed those things. Then I went and told everybody about what I learned. I was handing out Eckhart Tolle's books to everyone that told me they had an issue. I just really wanted to spread that message. And number 3, I used to be stuck in the 9 to 5, and I escaped that eventually through learning how to invest in real estate. I bought a few dozen rental properties. And after that, I ran a coaching program for 4 years where I taught a few hundred clients how to buy their first rental properties. So the pattern that my coach and I spotted is that 1 is I will have a problem in my life. 2, I will try a bunch of different shit and ultimately figure out the solution. And 3 is I will turn around and find a way to share that solution with other people so that they don't have to suffer like I did. And that ultimately defines the broader movement or the real reason why I am here. It is not just to help people with a coaching business or a book. Those are linked to doing work that you love, that makes a difference in the world, that gives you a great lifestyle. And I also want to help you have better relationships and be healthier and find more inner peace and just have more joy and more fun in what you do. So can you see how that is a lot deeper than I am Ryan and I help people start an online coaching business? It's also something that if somebody stumbles across you and content about those things, they're going to be a lot more likely to stick. In other words, a lot more people will follow you if instead of just solving a problem, you start a movement. And if you think about the brands and the people that you're already loyal to and you have a lot of trust in, it's likely that you don't just love like your iPhone because it has a beautiful camera, but you believe in the movement that Apple started many years ago. There's always something deeper, a shared set of values that links you to those companies. And we're trying to create that same link between your audience and you as the brand. Your movement is a lot more important than the details of your niche. Your movement is long lasting while your niche can change. So now that you understand the importance of identifying your movement and communicating it, let's talk about the type of person that you want to attract to that movement. Now, I know you've probably heard that you need to pick a very specific customer avatar that you make all your content for. And I used to agree with that, and I would preach it from the mountaintops. But I want to share a different perspective. I want to show you why you should go a little bit broader with the type of customer avatar that you target, and specifically why you should target people who are into personal development. First of all, anyone you ask is going to tell you that they want better health, wealth, relationships, and more happiness and inner peace. However, I would guess that 95% of those people are not actively pursuing a solution to get those things. And we aren't concerned with those people. We are concerned with the other 5%, the ones that believe that they can solve their problems, the ones that have a bunch of personal development books on their Audible account, the ones that listen to podcasts and watch TED Talks, and they buy courses and they buy coaching. These are the only type of people who will ever shell out the money for your products. You can take me for example. I have been into personal development for over a decade, and I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on masterminds, coaching programs, courses, you name it. I'm obsessed with seeking answers, and I'm willing to pay to get solutions. And I have all the same problems that you have, right? I want to make more money. I want to have better relationships. I want to be healthier. I want to find more inner peace, and I want to be more productive. And I don't really fit an exact demographic. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a writer, I'm a dad, I'm a creator. I'm really just a dude who's into personal growth. So your niche doesn't have to include an exact customer avatar. I've tried that, and it has only limited my audience. You can speak to anyone and everyone who has a growth mindset. And the way you do that is by making the bulk of your content around personal development. This will attract the right audience of people that you do want and repel the ones that you don't. Another huge benefit of creating a lot of personal development content that I totally overlooked is that it will show the depth of your thinking. It will allow you to connect with people on a level that's just deeper than here's 3 tips to optimize your email marketing. In fact, most of my closest friends in real life, we have connected on a deeper level in the way that we think. We think similarly. That's why I like them. That's why I trust them. And it came through those late nights when you're sitting on the porch and you're having a deep conversation. And so it's okay to have a deep conversation with your audience about the things that matter the most to you, that go deeper than just the details of your niche. In fact, it's critical if you want to develop that deeper connection with them. Okay, so first of all, we've talked about how your brand is a lot more of a movement than it is a niche. And two, we've talked about how the type of person you want to bring to your movement is a type of person who's into personal development. Now, let's talk about where you actually do need a niche and whether or not Dan Coe is wrong. And if you remember, he's the guy who has millions of followers, who makes millions of dollars, and tells everyone that niching down is terrible advice. Well, I just finished a live cohort that Dan taught, and in the cohort, he taught us that indeed we can make most of our content around whatever we want, as long as we make some of it around our niche. But wait, doesn't Dan say that you don't have to niche down? Well, if you look at what Dan himself does, is he sells a product about how to grow a personal brand, how to grow a creator business, grow, on social media, make more money. That is what all of his products are about. So he does indeed have a niche. However, my take on it is that he has not been lying to us. He is correct about how niching down is terrible advice. But the one critical piece that he did not mention is that when it comes to the actual product that you sell, that product should have a niche. For example, Ali Abdaal is a huge YouTuber with 4 million subscribers, and he makes content around a variety of topics. Yet, he makes most of his money selling a course on how to grow on YouTube. They make mostly broad content and they sell niche products. Okay, so now that we've finally revealed the area of your business that does need a niche, let's talk about how to pick it. When picking the right niche for your product, you start with the big 3 markets. They are health, wealth, and relationships. And you want to look at those and ask yourself, in which of these have I personally gotten the best results? And in which of these do I personally care about the most? And the way that I spend my time actually backs that up. So in order to pick one of the big 3 markets, you have to ask yourself, number 1, in which of those have I gotten the best results? And number 2, which of those matters to me the most personally? And from there, you have to niche down further. And the smaller your audience is, the more important this is to do. For example, I'm not gonna try to compete with Dan Coe about how to grow a creator business because he has way more credibility than me and such a bigger audience that it's easier for him to make sales. Instead, I had to look more deeply into what I do and say, hey, well, I've published 2 books that have both generated multiple 6 figures for my coaching businesses. That can be the product that I sell. I will help people write books to get clients for their businesses. And with that one extra step of niching down, I went from having 1,000 competitors to basically none. So you have to find something that is, number 1, true to your actual track record, and 2, unique to the market. If you can check both of those boxes, you have a properly niched down product that you can sell that will make you money. Okay, so let's bring all this together. You've got your movement and you've got your personal development content as kind of the lead, and then you've got the niche for your product. But how do you actually take this and operate from this new mindset on a daily basis? Well, here's what Dan Coe recommends that I'm switching over to in my business. Number 1, make 80% of your content around personal development. This allows you to reach a wider audience, talk about your broader movement, filter out the people who are not a good fit, and show the depth of your thinking. And number 2, make the other 20% of your content around your niche. This allows you to educate them on a specific method that you have used to solve one of your problems and warm them up to buy your stuff. The personal development content will build you an audience of the right people. The niche product will sell because it delivers a specific outcome that they want from someone, you, that they trust. All right, here are the 4 big takeaways I want you to remember. Number 1 is you're not really picking a niche, you are starting a movement. Number 2, within your movement, you want to attract personal development people. Number 3, you do need to choose a niche, but for your product only, and then niche down enough in order to be competitive. And number 4, follow the 80-20 rule. 80% of your content can be about personal development and the other 20% about your niche. When you position everything around you and your movement and you make most of your content broad, then you don't have to worry about this niche question anymore. If you pivot, that's okay, because your movement's gonna stay the same. Most of your content's gonna stay the same. You can change up or add to the paid programs and products that you offer, and it's not going to disrupt your business that much. All right, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I just wanna say, closing out, that building a personal brand, I believe, is the biggest opportunity you have over the coming years. If you've not started thinking about your business as a personal brand, then I recommend watching this video where I show you how to build a personal brand and use it to escape the 9-to-5. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you in the next one.